What's up, space pirates? This is your Admiral, the certifiably suave Dr. Disaster. And with as bad as things have been for the Warner Brothers game division, you would think that they would at least consider changing their ways before things get any worse.
Worse? How could they get any worse? Take a look around you. We're at the threshold of hell!
After all, this is the company that has converted Rocksteady, the once beloved game studio responsible for the old Batman Arkham games. They converted that studio into whatever the hell it took to make Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Warner reportedly lost $200 million on this game. Players didn't buy this turd for a variety of reasons, not the least of which being that it's virtually impossible to take something seriously when it features ridiculous-looking nonsense like this Dr. Freeze garbage.
Surely you can't be serious.
I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
As a consequence of shoving this sort of stuff into gamers' faces, Warner has shuttered over a third of their gaming studios, including Monolith, the makers of the Shadow of Mordor games. These people are bleeding money at Warner, but somehow it seems that they still haven't gotten the message. Rather than abandon the DEI programs which are causing them so much financial grief, according to a leaked internal email shared among Warner employees, it appears that they are doubling down.
Oh, goody.
Yes, it appears as though Warner is under the impression that we are as stupid as they are. According to this leaked document, they seem to labor under the delusion that by simply rebranding the term DEI into inclusion, they think they can just continue to do what they've been doing and that suddenly everything will be okay. They fail to understand that this obsession with identity politics is very noticeable in their work, and that no matter what they choose to call it, we will notice what they're up to.
1, 2, 3. Hi! They only saw me!
You can run, but you can't hide, bitch!
Alright, me hearties, make sure that you hit the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and don't forget to follow me over on X, where my handle is Dr. Disaster 1. But alright, let's talk about this Warner situation and their attempt to hide from the public their commitment to wokeness, which is seemingly just as strong as ever. This is why it is so important that we remain steadfast in our focus on fighting against this mentality. I see an awful lot of infighting on the anti-woke side of the aisle right now, people acting as though we've already won the war, and as if we can now battle over the spoils. Not that we have to be a monolith or anything and believe and think all the same things, but I just don't want people to think that the war is over. But this post on X from Grums lays out all this information about the Warner Brothers email that was leaked. He wrote here, Warner Brothers doubles down on DEI, changes name to Inclusion to try to rebrand. The makers of Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League have learned nothing. Even after a $200 million loss and being forced to close many studios due to poor sales, in a recent company-wide email shared with me, Chief People and Culture Officer and Chief Inclusion Officer proudly state, and I just want to pause really quick and point out how absolutely ludicrous it is that a company has a Chief Inclusion Officer. It's amazing that such a thing is an actual job title. Imagine going back in time to the days of the settlers who were just trying to make sure that they don't freaking starve to death every day, and imagine trying to explain to them why such a job is necessary. Anyhow, the Chief People and Culture Officer and Chief Inclusion Officer said, "Our success absolutely depends on having a team that's truly diverse, reflects all perspectives, and has a culture where our employees feel valued and respected. These have always been our values, and that won't ever change." And telling stories that shape culture and engage people all over the world takes a commitment to diverse voices, perspectives, and experiences. Fully representing our audience is critical to our business, our content, and our culture. We are now and always will be committed to ensuring our values underpin how we operate as a company. Counterpoint to this nonsense that they spew, fully representing your audience, making sure that absolutely every box is ticked when making a game, is just about the least important thing that you could possibly do as a company. The thing is, I'm not black, but I can identify strongly with Blade, one of my favorite comic book characters who is black. People are capable of seeing themselves in characters that don't look or behave exactly like them. It is only sheer narcissism that causes these whiny babies to act as though that isn't the case. These people want to manufacture diversity just for its own sake, and that leads to some very nonsensical character designs and decisions. Often, the immutable characteristics of the characters included in this manner become a huge part of their personality. As an example, they often have characters that are gay, where basically their entire personality is the fact that they are gay, or lesbian, or bi, or black, or whatever. It's just insufferable. It makes them wildly insufferable. But to finish Grums's post off, he said, Warner joins Activision Blizzard, who also doubled down in continuing to promote this failed ideology, which is really a virtue mask for excluding and justifying unlawful hiring practices against white or Asian devs who are gender normal. Until Warner Brothers turns this around, their games will continue to be expensive blunders. And then, at the bottom of his post, he included a couple of images of the leaked email that he received. Here, the verbatim of the email says, "We will continue to be strongly committed to telling inclusive and diverse stories across our film and television programming around the world. One of the ways we do this is through our best-in-class recruiting and training programs, which provide essential skills training, education, etc., etc." I love how they call their recruiting best-in-class, and yet, once again, this is a company which just jettisoned over a third of their gaming studios, and they are likely going to have to let more people go this year. If they are so good at hiring, why are they failing so miserably? But here's another image of the leaked email showing how they are rebranding DEI, as if changing the name will somehow make gamers not notice the garbage that they pump out onto the screens. It says, "Our overarching work in this space will now be referred to as inclusive. Making this change better aligns our language with our focus throughout our company, in our industry, and across our content. We're updating the language we use to ensure the intent and impact of our actions are clear. You will see this new approach updated on our website and internal channels." So yeah, these people have noticed that normal people, the vast majority of the public, are against DEI nonsense, and rather than do any self-reflection and think about why that might be, they've decided to simply change the name and continue their work, as if we simply won't notice its effect. This is why I am so leery of the new Batman Arkham game that has been announced recently. These are unserious people who have lots of goals, but making a fun gaming experience simply because they love the Batman world is not one of them. They view something like the Batman Arkham universe as a means of pushing their own viewpoints onto the world. They view it as a vehicle for their ridiculous worldviews. But I'm gonna leave it there. Drop your contempt for this company into the comment section below, and we will talk there. Thanks for watching, me hearties. If you haven't already, your Admiral is inviting you to subscribe to the channel and become a part of the crew. Life as a space pirate may not be glamorous, but there's always plenty of booty.